I'm Ebony, founder of S.O.N Organization, and this is my moment of spotlight.
Spotlight. Look, first episode of the year. Yes, we back. It's still January, still cold outside. Joining me today, we got Miss Ebony, founder of S.O.N Organization. How you doing today?
Doing.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty
Thanks
good.
for having me.
Definitely. So like, we what? Couple weeks into the year. How your year been going so far?
So far, so good. I've been very, very busy. Just kind of working on a few things and trying to keep myself motivated so I can, achieve all my goals that I set for this year. But so far, so good.
Okay, that's pretty good. I'm like a mental health check, right? Just know how you feeling. From a scale of 1 to 10, like how do you say you feeling?
Um, Overall, or like right now at this moment?
Overall for real.
Overall, probably about a 7.
A 7?
Yeah.
Why you say a 7? That's a C.
Yeah, because a 7 is like, I'm not like the best, but I feel like I'm better than like average, like halfway. So I would say, a little bit more work needs to be done to like get my mental to like a space that I wanted. But overall, I feel like I'm fairly in a good space.
Okay.
No, that's good. That's good. I like that. I definitely understand that. Especially with like New Year, a lot of new things probably coming at you. You know what I'm saying? Then older things from the previous year probably still is. So I definitely understand that. You know, back in 2022, you lost your son, Dakari Baldwin. I know like you came on here, you want to shed some light on the situation. But before we really dive into that, I really want to know like what kind of made you comfortable enough with you to be able to speak on what happened.
What's going on with you?
So I think that there's a lot of, unanswered questions about, how I'm taking the loss, dealing with it. A lot of people, of course, question and really want to know what happened. But I think that, just shedding light on the story of losing my son and starting my organization could probably give some insight and some help to maybe a mother that might be going through some things that I went through with Dakari.
Okay.
I definitely can understand that. Like it's gonna be like a lot of mothers out here watching this. A lot of them gonna be inspired and motivated by like what you say. So, I feel like a lot of people like, well, granted, you gotta be from the city, you know what's going on here in Baltimore. Like, like it's if like there's always something going on here. Especially like we got like some fame for like some hood fame and whatnot. Like that's really like kind of like solidifies you here in Baltimore. And I kind of feel like with Dakari, aka Bonk, a lot of people, they feel as though, especially in his passing, that oh yeah, I know about him outside. I know he was getting into, but I don't really be hearing about a lot of people talk about him his life outside the streets. And you as his mother, I kind of want you to take the opportunity to kind of like, let us know like the real Dakari, like what was he really like.
Right. Yeah, that was a good question because, a lot of people know Lor Bonk, but they don't know, Dakari. So overall, he was a very great kid. He was very intelligent. He always did very well in school, straight A's, honor student, um, graduated high school a year early because of his academics.
Okay.
He loved sports. He actually grew up in church. He used to dance in like the church dance group. So he was a great kid, respectful, very humble, very appreciative. But overall, he was a great son, great brother, great father. I mean, not father, but he was a great son, great brother, great friend, great grandson. He was great all around the board. So outside of Lil Bonk, Dakari was definitely a great person.
Mm. You would call him Lil Bunk. Where that name come from?
So it's funny because a lot of people think like Bonk came from the streets, like that's a street name. But I actually nicknamed him Bonk when he was a baby. And it just like was a name that kind of just popped in my head. As a parent, you just call your kids all types of stuff. Little Stinky Man, Bookie Butt, So Bonk Man was just like in my womb, he was always busy, just bouncing around and moving and kicking. And I used to be like, what you just in there bouncing, little bonk, bonk, bonk. You just bouncing like a little ball. And so it was actually Bonk Man initially, So he was my little Bonk Man. And as he grew up, people dropped the man off and started calling him Bonk. And so, yeah, that was my little Bonk Man, little chunky, little big head, light skinned little thing. So,
Okay.
So I gave him that name, and a lot of people don't know that. They think like the streets named him Bonk.
Mm.
Lil Bonk came from the streets. He added that LOR when he kind of got in the streets, but Bonk Man was my
Yeah,
baby.
that's a Baldwin thing. You add that Lor in front of your name. That's crazy though. 'Cause I would have thought like Bonk probably came from the streets, but I get it though. He probably was just like running into a lot of stuff when he was a kid.
He was
Oh, he
just doing
did.
everything. He was always active, always busy. You know, he never wanted to sit still. He was just bouncing around, boom, 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 boom. He wanted to do a little bit of everything. I'm like, look, Bonk, you gotta chill. You gotta focus on one thing at a time.
Mm.
So he was always a go getter.
So growing up, what did he say he wanted to be?
So he initially he wanted to go to college, be like an engineer and be all of this stuff. But as he got a little older, he navigated more to being in a trucking field. So he
Okay.
actually mentioned that he wanted to get his CDLs and start a trucking company. So that was his focus before he passed.
Nah, I like that. I like that. I be feeling like, Bonk, he died. He was 17, right? To be 17 and kind of have some direction on what you want to do, that says a lot about you, how you raise him, and him himself, his mental. No, definitely. A lot of people they don't feel what they want to do till they about they don't even know.
Yeah, no, he definitely knew. I mean, he was always a hustler. He wanted to, work multiple jobs. He had his dealership license at 17. He was
Okay.
selling cars. He had two different jobs. By the age of 15, he worked at a catering company. He worked at Amazon by 16, 17. So, he always worked. He always wanted to make his own money. He always wanted to be independent. So that was something that like was a goal of his to just overall be successful.
That's definitely tremendous. That's good. I want to know like, cause it seemed like Bunk always had it back in his head like he was gonna do his own thing, right? He was aspiring for success, aspiring to get money, which is those are great attributes to have. I want to know like, was that kind of like what kind of made Bunk want to grow up so fast in a sense?
I think that he just felt like he was missing something, and seeing me struggle as a single parent, coming from a single parent household, he always wanted to feel like, I want to be able to help you. He
Mm.
always told me, I want to grow up, I want to buy you a black truck one day,
Okay.
so I think that just made him want to feel like he was the man of the house, he was the oldest in the house, he was the man of the house. And so for a long time, I think he looked for that independence of just being able to be the man of being a man of his own.
Did he kind of like off the rip, like I know he got a little belt, right?
Hmm.
Right there. He kind of like develop that at like a certain age. He kind of step up, and like, all right, now I'm on man time. But that kind of like that transition.
Yeah, I think probably about late middle school, eighth to ninth grade, that transition into high school, I started seeing more of, has him developing, going through puberty, getting older. He more and more it's like, I gotta get a job. He used to be like, Mom, buy me some waters. I can go outside and sell
Oh,
waters.
he
I'm
was trying
like,
to hustle for real.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So he just always wanted to like make some money, no matter what it was. If he was gonna sell bean pies, he would sell them. So, his goal was to like make money, raise his own money, save his own money. And so that's really what he focused on doing.
Okay. And I know you also in a couple of fields, like real estate, and then you got your own company. I feel as though he probably kind of looked at you, how kind of maneuvering, and kind of took that from you. You kind of feel the
Yeah,
same way?
no, he told me one day, he said, Ma, you always got a little side hustle,
Mm.
and my other son can vouch as well. Like, I've always worked multiple jobs. I've always had some type of entrepreneurship mindset that ultimately like led him to want to be an entrepreneur. I stress to my son now, I'm like, don't ever settle for one source of income. You have to always be able to make money no matter what you go to school for, learn another trade, have another skill. So I think he took that definitely from me, just watching me, studying for my real estate exam. I studied hours, days in and days out. And one day he looked at me like, Ma, if you fail that test, I'ma just cry for you because you working real hard. I'm like, don't play no music in my house, doors closed. I would play the recordings in the car while we was driving,
Mm.
so he saw how hard I worked to achieve my goals. So I think that motivated him to like, all right, I gotta be, a hustler like my mother. And that's pretty much what he did. Yeah, I ain't
Nah,
want no music, no TVs. I
none
couldn't
of
hear
that.
nothing. I just had to focus. I had to study. Like that real estate exam was very, very tough. So when I studied for that, and it's like, I'm doing this for you. Like everything I'm doing is for y'all to like set the tone, so y'all would never have to work as hard as me. But he didn't look at it that way. Even though I wanted to pave a way where they didn't have to work as hard, I still wanted them to understand, like, you got to be able to stand on your own.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's the thing. Like, I'm not a parent myself, but I know, like, from a parent standpoint, the main goal is to, eventually kind of structure you to be able where you can, fend for yourself.
Was that process kind of like hard?
Yeah, difficult. I think just as a woman, as a single mother alone trying to raise boys, it's always a challenge because I can teach them so much, but I can't teach them how to be a man. So all in all, I think that he still longed for that independence from that male to be like, man, and he told me that in the letter he wrote me from prison. It's like, certain things I couldn't instill in them. But, it definitely made me just work as hard as I did to instill the right things that I did. It's all about morals and principles. And so I want them to both take away the values that I instilled in them. And it's up to them to take it and do what they want to do with it. But as a parent, I think our biggest, hardest job is just instilling right from wrong in your kids. But ultimately, they have to make the right decision.
Yeah, I was gonna say, a lot of times, like, and that be the thing, like, a lot of parents to hear like their kids doing one thing, and they'll kind of be like, well, I don't believe it because when we home, we do this, 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 this. But in actuality, it's like they're the only person they're gonna make their own decisions. Right. So were you kind of naive at one, like hearing about some of the things Bonk had going on? Was you kind
of? No, not at all. It's like your child. I knew my son. I knew the attitude he had, the demeanor he had. He always displayed that, like, Mr. Tough Guy. Like, he always had that, like, macho-ness that, like, he didn't care. Middle school, he had got into, like, this altercation with this little boy. And they was in, like, 6th, 7th grade. And the little boy was, oh, I'm going to get a gun. We bringing guns to school. 6th, 7th grade, And, I mean, I went to the little boy house to talk to his mother. Like, hey, I don't know what's going on. I saw these messages because they beefing on social media and stuff, texting. And I mean, Bonk in the background, like, come outside. And I'm like, boy, hold up, chill out. I'm like, right here trying to, the boy, like, man, you know what's up? I'm like, wait a minute. So it's like, this was middle school, and I remember it like yesterday. And the lady, like, she couldn't even control her son. He was trying to get out the door. And I'm like, Bonk, wait a minute, go back. Get in the car. I ain't come here for this. I ain't bring you here to fight. But so he had that attitude, like, I don't care. Football games, he would get mad at the referees when they blew a whistle or threw a flag, basketball games. So that attitude, seeing it in him, and I used to tell him, I said, Bonk, that attitude ain't gonna get you nowhere in life. You gotta control it. It's not gonna take you nowhere. So when you see your child, possessing certain signs of things, it's like, all right, this gonna get worse as you get older. And so
understood that.
I understood, but I just tried to work with him to work through it to help him change. But, ultimately, I saw it. I saw that, like, oh yeah, this gonna be my problem child right here. I don't get that from my other son. I don't get all of that. But Bonk, he was the one that gave me all of that chest out. Like, I'm like, boy, you better calm down.
yeah, I figured that. So Dakari had like a transition in his life, right? You know him for being your son, but then you also kind of transitioned to the streets. So that kind of like an overnight change, you would say?
It definitely was overnight, but, like, it still was a process. It was overnight to where, I saw it coming, but I didn't want to believe when it really, like, happened. You start hearing little things, you start seeing certain actions, and it's like, all right, wait a minute. I know you ain't moving like that. So, but yeah, it was quick. It was quick. But like I said, as coming up and having that attitude and that demeanor, it strictly, having that attitude and demeanor kind of like quickly turned into the street attitude.
So he kind of took the attitude you already had out there. And, okay.
Yeah, like never being afraid of anything. Like he never backed down from nobody. Like he ain't care if it was your grandmother, your grandfather, 3 bouncers at the club. Like he wasn't backing down. And I'm just like, it started to scare me a little bit because I'm like, this little boy ain't scared of nothing. I'm like, you're not invincible. You know that, right? So, but yeah, it definitely happened quickly. In a matter of, I would say, like 2 years, he was like, yeah, like dived in. He ain't like jump off the porch. He like dived off the porch.
He
like,
in the deep end.
Yeah, he hopped in the deep end.
Yeah, I can, me being a male, like growing up here in Baltimore, I can second that. Like, you gotta have that demeanor though. So I feel as though it's kind of necessary, but I feel as though it's kind of what you folded towards. So I definitely understand why he probably carried like that. Did that kind of like, I want to know at what point did you know like, it was probably like real serious?
Yeah, by ninth grade. By ninth grade, I got a phone call that an incident happened, and I was like, you know what, you gonna live with your grandmother for a while. Like, we not doing this. So by ninth grade, yeah, he was like full throttle, like in the streets, and he was still working, but he was like sneakingly doing it, like not in my face, but I was
Sneaking,
getting like he
like,
was sneaking behind my back, going, he would be outside, I heard he had probably been selling drugs. I heard he was like carrying guns, and I'm like asking him about it, and he like, no, no, like, he was denying it, and I wasn't seeing it for myself in my face. So, I kind of knew, the crowd of people he was hanging around and things I was hearing, but I didn't really want to believe that he was like in it. So I sent him to live with his grandmother after ninth grade. I was like, no, you're not going to that school no more. He was going out Mervo, so
you
I
going
took
Marvel?
Ooh, that's the.
Mervo. He was playing football, but by the end of ninth grade, he got put off the football team, for his attitude. And I'm like, no, you going somewhere else. You need a new environment. So I sent him to live with his grandmother,
But
and
that,
he lived there for like a year.
but that
That like that mom intuition kicking in. Okay, that's real.
Right. It was that intuition where I'm like, let me get him away from it before it get too deep. But little do I know it was already that deep, But I was like trying to call myself preventing it from going any further than what the situation I got a phone call about.
okay.
I'm like, no, that ain't my son, But again, not being naive to knowing how he was, I was like, I don't put nothing past him at this point.
And I think that's just you being real though as a mother. Like, no, it's just because, like I said, a lot of mothers be like, they ain't baby in denial essentially. Like, act like they kid not on that, but they knowing they are. So like at age 16, Bunk he gets arrested, right? So like at this point, what's the conversation with him like? Is it? I'm sure you probably on the tip now. Like you not playing with him anymore.
So the first arrest, it actually like I think I cried more when he got arrested for the first time than I did when he died. Because I felt like that was like the total pivot. Like, all right, this is real. Because what he got locked up for, a gun, drugs, the amount of drugs, fentanyl. Um, and I was just like, all right, I knew it was something, but I didn't know it was that deep. And I mean, he told me, he said, "Ma, I'm in too deep. I can't walk away right now. It's not that easy, So he started opening up to me about it because he knew he couldn't lie about it now because it's like, oh, you caught red-handed, you locked up.
Yeah, at this point, you guys tell the truth.
And so, he started having conversations with me about a lot of things that, some stuff I gotta take to my grave. But he let me know what was going on at that point because I'm like, look, I need to know everything because I need to know what I need to be cautious about.
So was that hard? Like coming to him like that? Like you need to know everything?
Yeah, that was really hard. It was hard just knowing that as a mother, you gotta like, you want to really still be a parent, but you also know because as a parent, you always want to protect your child. And so knowing that I couldn't protect him from certain things in the streets, but knowing that I wanted him to know, like, I got your back, right or wrong, but I want you to do the right thing because I can't protect you from the streets, So it was hard just knowing that it was really nothing physically I could do to change his mindset at that point. Because at that point, his mindset was on a whole nother level. He was like all the way low bone. Like that LOR kicked in, and I'm like, wait a minute, what happened to my little bunk man? Like this little bunk person. Because I told him one day, I was like, you're not even the child I raised. Like, yeah. I said, I don't even know who you are anymore. This not my bunk that played sports, that danced in church, that, was just lovable, educated, smart little kid. Now you just thug. Like, that was new for me to accept. So it's like, as a parent, you don't really want to accept it, but not being naive about my child, I learned to deal with it. And I knew it was still certain things I had to protect them from and know that, you know, no matter what's going on out there, you still my son. I still love you.
I mean, I feel like I really commend you for being authentic with him though, and really let him know like you know what you doing. It's not within your characteristics. Granted, if you would have raised him like that, then it kind of would have made sense. But since you didn't raise him like that,
And see, I bought this letter that he wrote me when he got locked up. This was in like February of 21. He had probably been locked up for a couple months because he had a no bail.
How
And
long was he locked up
so
altogether?
initially he ended up doing like 3 to 4 months, you know, like the judge ended up giving him 90 days, which they sent him away to like this juvenile center all the way in Eastern Shore. But he sat for like almost 2 months with a no bail. Came home on a box. And when he went to court, they, you know, because he was facing adult charges. He was charged as an adult first time at 16. So that alone was just like, wait a minute. Like, and that's what made me like break down because I'm like, you just threw your whole life away. You know, because at this point, no court, nothing happened. All I'm thinking of is the charges. And I'm like, you
Yeah,
not
that's
beating
what
that.
scares.
that's what scared you the most.
Just like,
Process is like the actual charge. Like,
right. And I'm just like, you can't, you never gonna get a good job. You know, you never gonna be, you about to be a felon at 16. Like, you just thinking all the worst. And then, you know, I kind of just, it was overwhelming to even know, like, I'm thinking of everything I taught you, everything I instilled, and it's like, boom, in that one instant, it's all gone, you know. So, but in his letter, he really kind of made me um, understand him a little bit better. And so, one part of the letter, he said, you know, he said, you're a good mother and do a good job raising us. I hope my kids get a mother like you. It's some things in life, though, no matter what you did, that a woman can't teach a man. And some things I had to learn on my own. Unfortunately, I know you always told me right from wrong and not to do the wrong, but sometimes I was attracted to the wrong I saw. And then he goes on to say at the bottom, I've been seeing guns and all that since I was little. So when I grew up, this already was what I thought was cool. Even though I used to love playing sports, and I don't know why, but I wanted to choose this route. I'm going to try my best to be better when I come home and get another job and stay out the way. A lot of people don't have a mother like you. I'm blessed to have you, and I'm sorry for putting you through so much stress for my way of living. It's just some stuff you wouldn't understand. You did not do nothing wrong as a parent, so don't think like that. At the end of the day, my choices I make is mine, not yours. I got my own mind. I love you, Ma. I'm still going to get you that black truck. He still owe me a black truck. I want my truck.
so
But stuff like that, those words, you know, because as a parent, you kind of like beat yourself up. Sometimes you kind of feel like what am I doing wrong? You know, what did I not do right? Like, what can I do better? So that kind of like reassured me, like I'm doing everything the right way. And I know I'm not the best mother. You know, my son sitting right there can contest, like, but I'm hard on him. You know, I'm strict. I fuss, yell, punishments, all type of stuff. He wasn't like that child that just got away with anything.
right.
Because he stayed, I mean, I think Bonk probably was punished 5 or 6 times a month. Like, literally. I mean,
5 6 weeks in a
I
month.
mean, you talking about strict punishments though, like push-ups, writing. If he get in trouble for school for talking out loud, write 1,000 times, I will not talk in class again. Like, I mean, any type of punishment that I could think that would make him suffer. You know, do 1,000 push-ups. Like, you know, I'm one punishment I made him go to school like with mismatched clothes. I was like, you want to act like a clown? I'm gonna send you to school looking like a clown. You know, like anything I felt like would hurt his pride. Like he ain't kiddo. It was like, all right, another weekend of punishment. I'll be back Monday. So,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah, that's
I tried to like, I'm just that like, it's a mixture. I'm that cool down to earth mother, but I'm also like, don't play with me. Like, don't play with me. Like, I think one thing a lot of parents have to realize is like, you can't be your child friend, you know. And I ain't knocking no parent that do it because there's a lot of them out here, but I never been that parent that's like, oh, this is my best friend. I'm not your friend. I don't want to be your friend. I'm your mother. Until you 18, we might can gravitate to a friendship. But you know, people post pictures, oh, my little broke best friend. No, that my kids ain't never been my best friend. I don't want to be your best friend because I want you to differentiate friendship and the relationships you got with your mother. And so that was one thing, like he knew like I didn't play. So that's why he knew he had to hide that lifestyle. You know, he wasn't that kid posting drugs and guns and stuff on his Instagram. And as he got older, his stories started changing. And somebody was like, you saw what Bonk post on his page? I'm like, no. I go to his story. I don't see nothing on his story. He blocked me off his stories. Because he knew he couldn't throw that in my face. He blocked my best friend and people that he knew what he was doing. That how that story came out, oh, he started going crazy on IG. Before that, don't even put your middle finger up on there. Because you can't say F you in front of me. Whatever you can't say out your mouth in front of me, I don't want to read the caption on Instagram. I don't want none of that. So, like, I was that parent. I'm monitoring your page. I'm going in your phone. I'm reading your text messages. Like, so he was smart, though. He was educated. So he knew how to navigate through, like, all right, I can outsmart my mother with this. And my youngest son do the same. He think he got me sometimes, but every now and then he get caught up too. I'm like, Ray, you not smarter than me. Like, you will never outsmart me. I don't know why you keep thinking.
That's because you know your kids though. So you always gonna know what like where they mind at, what they doing, especially the sneaky stuff. Cause you watch them grow up. You know, do you think like social media kind of played a part in like the way Bonk was moving?
I think social media play a part in the way a lot of these kids move because it's like they want to be a part of the, you know, what's going on. They want to stay up in like the new norm, like what is popular right now, you know. So
they want to keep up in a sense.
Right, they want to keep up. They want to fit in. So when you establish a name for yourself, like you said, you might have heard stories about Bonk.
Yeah, I told you on the phone before we even did the interview. I never had the honor of meeting Bonk. But like I told you, like I remember one time I was on Twitter, and like this female that I know, they got into an argument, and I ain't gonna lie, Bonk was dragging on Twitter. I mean, dragging. Like,
Some people still
he was dragging.
Yeah, so people that once you get that name though for yourself, it's like, all right, now I got uphold to the standard of what people expect from me. So once Lil Bonk was known as Lil Bonk, it's like, all right, you know, I gotta keep that up, and whether it's on social media or wherever, you know. So, but I definitely think social media played a big influence on, you know, his transition.
Yeah, I be hearing that a lot. Like a lot of people say like, I mean, I can attest to it. Like you listen to certain music, it make you want, you know, do certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that you kind of like look up to or follow, especially with social media, everybody on there, like people gotta understand, like it's about perception. 99.9 of that stuff you see on social media is not authentic. Like people are always gonna show you the best because who wants to put out their worst stuff? It's crazy though because when people actually put out the stuff that's not like their best, it makes people really gravitate towards them more. But nobody wants to do that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to just follow the trend of, oh, I'm good, I'm up. And that's whether you're not. Yeah. So I definitely, I feel as though I play a big part of what's going on today with like a lot of people in our city. Everywhere, really.
Yeah, just everywhere. Like just the social impact, you know, the environment, the music, social media. Those are like the three factors I feel like that are like really diving into the heads of our youth now. You know, you want to do what all the rappers say do. You want to look like what everybody look like on social media. And then you got to adapt to the environment that you're in. So if that's what you grow up in, then that's what most of them think that they have to become. But, you know, little do they know, right, you don't have to, but that's the mindset that a lot of them have.
It definitely is.
It definitely is. You know, the day he passed away, can you kind of walk me through it from your perspective, like how that day went down for you?
So he actually passed away a day before his 18th birthday. So, you know, it was kind of tough, but he got shot a week before. So that week was just
so
like...
he already was shot?
Right. He was on life support for like 5 days. So that week was like probably like one of the longest weeks, you know, of my life because that motherly instinct kicks in. Like, you know, you want a child fall, you need a Band-Aid, you know, you want to be, all right, mommy can be the doctor, I can fix you up, you know. And then at that moment, it's like I knew it was nothing that I could do. So, you know, just watching my son fight for his life for a week, you know, it was difficult. it was very, very difficult. But, leading up to that day, I kind of try to mentally prepare because I kind of knew that it wasn't good. He had got shot in his head. So I kind of knew it was a strong possibility that he would never wake up. And then it gave me time to kind of like process it like, all right, if he don't wake up, this is what is next, the funeral and this and that. So I was thinking about all that week. But, that particular day, we was actually like planning to have something the next day for his birthday. And, when I woke up in the morning, because I was at the hospital every night, and then it was like, everything was just wrong. Like I looked up at the screen and like his blood pressure was low. His kidneys had just went up. Then the day before they put him on dialysis. So a lot of people didn't know, like every day the progress was like less and less. So like, but people were like, how Bonk doing? I'm like, all right, he good. He hanging in there. But I knew like every day it was like declining. But I just didn't want to worry everybody because they like, people like, oh, well, people saying you going to take him off life support and this and that. And I was really contemplating taking him off life support, but I'm just like, all right, I want him to kind of make it to his 18th birthday. So I was trying to hold it out. But that day, like he went to cardiac arrest. So it's like, it was God's will. Like I didn't play no part in like taking him off life support or anything. His heart stopped. They try to resuscitate him. They try to bring him back. I literally, just a little bit before that, was telling the doctor, like, hey, tomorrow is his birthday. I want to have a little get together because you only can have like 2 people in the room at a time, 4 visitors a day.
Right.
So you can imagine how hard that was with the million people that know my son. Everybody want to see him. And I'm like, all y'all can't come up here. So I'm like, on this day, can y'all just grant us like some extra visitors so like more people can see him? I'm like, God forbid it's his last birthday. So the doctors was like, yeah, that's cool. We'll give y'all the family room. Y'all can still rotate in and out the room, but we'll allow more visitors for just that one day. I'm like, all right. So we was preparing for that. I'm like, all right, we got a day. And then after the birthday, I was going to probably try to make a decision. Like, all right, I know this not going well. Let me just mentally, But yeah, that day, he coded. And then they saved him. They brought him back a couple times. But, it was his time. So it was his time. So that was the day before his birthday. So it was like a shock, like, damn, like his birthday tomorrow. And that's what I looked at the doctor. I'm like, his birthday tomorrow. And the doctor was crying. She was like, I know. So it was a shock. But, I think that the week of him being in the hospital gave me time to kind of process it a little bit better. Like, if he would have died instantly that day, I probably would have maybe broke down a lot more. But in my mind, I'm like, all right, I can do this. Like, God, just give me strength for this. I can handle this. I was more worried about everybody else. I'm like, damn, my mother not gonna take it well.
That's the
Damn, his
mother in you,
grandma.
though. You kind of made you.
Yeah, I was like thinking about my son, my other son. I'm thinking about all these other people that's like gonna be affected. But I wasn't even worried about my own feelings. I was just like, damn, this person gonna be sad. This person gonna be hurt. This person, I gotta call this person and this person. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta take a moment to myself. Like, that's my son. Like, everybody was crying outside the hospital the night it happened, and I was the only one not crying. I'm like, what
Really?
y'all crying for? Like, why y'all? They was just looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, you ain't even sad. Like, you just being so strong. I'm like, y'all don't even know what's happening. We waiting for the doctors. But I think it was just like that moment of being in shock, like the reality of knowing the lifestyle your child was living. You anticipate that. Like, I kind of knew that this day might come. You know what I mean? Like, so it was like I never was naive to knowing. And I told Bonk plenty of times, the only way out the streets is you gonna die or go to jail. Like, that's the only way out this lifestyle if you don't change your life. So you have to change, or your lifestyle won't catch up with you. That's the only 2 routes. You gonna die or go to jail. Which one you gonna take? Like, so I feel like I prepared for it, but the reality was I still didn't want to accept that it might happen. So when it happened, it was like, damn, like my son on Murder Inc. Like my son, like it was crazy. It was crazy. It's still crazy. Like it don't be saying
Yeah, I feel like that's not something you can ever like fully understand
right.
and be like, okay, it happened. No, that's forever gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Just the whole, but I kind of do want to say like the period that week he was in the hospital, I really feel like that kind of like prepared you for ultimately what happened. Like you said, it would have just happened one day and so he'd have died. That probably would have been a lot more harder on you. You know, I want to know like the last conversation you had with Bonk. Do you remember that?
Yeah. When the last like deep conversation, or you saying like that day or like the day
Like
before?
that day, like the
Oh.
last time you were able to speak to him.
That day was just a basic like, what's up, what you doing? Love you, I love you more. The day before that he had his little goddaughter, London, and she was crying and crying and crying and he didn't know what to do. So he called me like, Ma, she won't stop crying. So I'm like, boy, you need to take that baby home. So, every day we would just typical, I love you, be safe. But, like my last probably heartfelt heart to heart was like a couple weeks before he got shot. Which this picture was the last we had went to church that Sunday on Mother's Day, and I told him that night before, I was like, all I want from you for Mother's Day is to like go to church with me.
Okay.
Just go to church with me so I could pray over you. I'm like, I'm really kind of um, worried about you, because you start to feel like when you see so much going on and happening in the streets and what your child is doing, you kind of like, it always hits you and it bothers you like, damn, like 16-year-old shot, 17-year-old shot, shootout on this street, shootout on that street. And
Yeah, you
I'm
know
like,
it's like around the corner for like it can
right.
happen anytime.
Yeah, so the yeah, that day though, we talked and just, I just always tell him like I want you to do better. And he would tell me like, man, I want, make you proud. Like I don't want to do this forever. So those was like those type of conversations like, and we had some real hard talks like about things that happened, things he's done. It was some conversations like, my, if anything happened to me, this is why. And some of that stuff is like, as a mother, it's like, all right, I know I gotta hold on to this information, but I don't want that to happen to you. He used to be like, don't worry about me, I'm good. Like, just pray. One day he was like, just pray for me. Like, he knew God. My son knew God, and that's what keeps me going. Like, I know, like, my son going to heaven. Whatever he's done. Like, I know his sons have been forgiven. He prayed, he believed in God. I've raised him in church. And so, but he knew that it was a possibility one day this day would come. So, I just and knowing that and talking to him, we talked about death. I talked to him about how I would do his funeral. Like I
So
have
you was
real
real
life
like
talk,
transparent with me.
real transparent. I don't cover nothing, even with my youngest son now. Like I ain't that mother that's gonna sugarcoat and talk about birds and the bees. If we talking about sex, we talking about sex. We talking about like I ain't sugarcoating and trying to patch it up and same all pretty. No, I'm gonna be raw and uncut with you. So
But that's how you gotta be though.
right.
You need it.
Nowadays with these kids, like they exposed to so much. Like they got so much exposure to so much in the real world that it's like if it don't come from home, then once they get a hold of it in the real world, they ain't gonna really know how to deal with it. So it's like it gotta start at home. Everything start at home.
No, definitely.
Education, speaking, talking, learning how to tie your shoe, ride a bike. And I was that mother, like, y'all gonna sit here and read. I don't understand some parents where, oh, my child in fifth and can't read. No, you ain't going through first and can't read in my house. We going, Ray can vouch. Flashcards, books, summertime, post things on the wall. Like, I never played about learning, education, none of that, because nothing you get outside my house, if you can't bring it home and understand it, like we gotta talk about it home first. Cause you going to the world gonna throw bricks at you, but you gotta be ready to
You
fight it.
gotta be prepared for
You
it.
gotta be prepared. So I try my best to prepare them at home before the streets get a hold of them.
No, that's
No, that's where it starts though. A lot of people be like, when you step outside the house, it's influences at your front door. Like they come from here, 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 here. You gotta be mentally prepared and grounded to know you know how to grow those obstacles. I want to know like what's like what would you say to like mothers that's kind of like blaming themselves like their sons getting like lost in the street.
I would definitely tell the mothers that's like, don't beat yourself up. You gotta just kind of keep pushing, stay focused. Pray. And I don't knock anybody's spiritual or religious practices because everybody don't believe in a higher power or believe in God. But, find faith in a higher power. I believe in God. I pray. I just try to just remind myself, like, do all you can do, but don't give up on them. I think at some point I kind of gave up. I'm like, you know what? If that's what you want to do, fine. But you can't live here. Like, I put them out my house. You can't live here and do it. That's the lifestyle you choose, so be it, but don't do it in my household. That's all I'm telling you. Like, respect my house, respect me, and respect my other son. I don't want none of that backlash coming here. So, I think all mothers should know, like, you can't beat yourself up because I used to tell my son all the time, it's the choices you make that's going to really determine where you end up in life. And if you choose to make the right decision, then ultimately the right is going to follow. But if you make the wrong decisions, I can't hold your hand every day when you leave my house. But like when you leave my house, you're a reflection of me. Like what I instilled in you, I want you to take out there in the streets. But unfortunately, like you said, like some of them don't have the mentality, like the mental strength. But just keep going. Like any mother, keep going. Don't give up. Stay prayed up and just, don't give up on your kids. Like fight until the end until, hopefully it's not too late and it don't take another mother to be sitting in this chair telling her story. Because, that's what I feel like in the beginning. I started to beat myself up on like, what could I have done differently? Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I should have. But I had to learn to accept it, which is like one stage of grief is acceptance. And like a lot of things about Bonk lifestyle I didn't accept. I just learned to deal with it. So like it's not like you gotta accept that lifestyle from your kids, but we gotta learn to deal with it and still kind of navigate through being that parent and not that friend and still trying to get them help. Try as much to get us help that you can. Bonk got up and walked out on the therapist. I called therapy. I'm calling people I need help for my son. I ain't talking to these people. I don't need no therapist. I don't need no mental. Like I tried to do so many different interventions to like, all right, let me try to keep you on the right path. But it's his choice. Like they have to choose the right path no matter what we do.
No, that's real.
No, that's real. That's real. No matter what you do, it's about like Monk said in the letter. At the end of the day, he made his own choices, and like he said, some stuff you probably won't understand, or he feels like you won't understand. I want to know like what's your attitude toward his father, like being that like
His father been in prison since since Monk was like about 4 months. He went to prison when he was 4 months. He did like 18 months with the state. And then he came home when Bonk was almost 3. Wasn't even home a whole year and then went back to prison with the feds for 20 years where he's still currently locked up. So my attitude towards him, he kind of blamed himself. He feel like if I was home, he would probably, would he have turned out like that? And I'm like, you can't blame yourself. It's a lot of kids in 2-parent households that
I still do stuff.
you got police officers, you got lawyers, you got preachers who their kids is outside on the street.
Right.
So I don't think it would have mattered whether he was home or not. It probably would have played a bigger influence, but our relationship is great. He calls and checks on me. He took it really, really hard. I think he probably took it the hardest out of anybody that I know. I don't think I ever heard a grown man cry the way he cried on that phone the day we lost our son. So, but I don't blame him at all. And I tell him all the time, like, don't blame yourself. It's not your fault. But he's definitely living with a void that will never be filled. He missed 17 years of his son's life for real. He don't have the memories I have. Like every picture he got with him was in jail, so he didn't get to experience life with our son the way I did. And for that, I feel bad for him. But we share good memories all the time. I share pictures with him. I just try to keep him informed on everything.
Keep him up, bitch.
Yeah, but, I definitely feel bad for him. Like, he gonna come home without his son. That was his firstborn. He do have a daughter that's a year younger than Bonk, but, that was his firstborn, his only son. So I can't imagine being gone from my child life all them years and then lose him. Couldn't come home for the funeral or nothing. And we tried to get him home.
They wouldn't let him.
They wouldn't let him come home. So, because after a while, like, he would just, Bonk got older, he called Bonk phone and, they had their own relationship. He talked to him probably every other day. But now they're both gone, we talk more. Like, we didn't talk as much at first.
Okay.
So he calls a lot and checks up on me, make sure I'm good and stuff.
He trying to do his part as much as he can. That gotta be a hard situation to be in. Like,
Yeah.
Now he just got here last year in Cumberland, so he got like another year or two. He'll be home soon. He definitely be home, but he pretty much did like his 20 years straight to the door.
that's a hard pill to swallow. I ain't gonna lie, that's a real hard pill to swallow. I want to know, like, I ain't like M Bunk's passing. Like, I done heard songs being dedicated to his bunk. I think you told me on the phone, like, it's like a couple kids named Dakari now. So, like, you seeing him getting all that love, like, how does that play on your mental state? Like, maybe.
Yeah. Um, it's like mixed emotions because I know a lot of the memories is from Lil Bonk, from the street Bonk. But it makes me feel good to know that like so many people loved him. So many people loved my son. So many people to be 17 and feel like people like your son was real respected. I'm like, how do you gain respect at 17? But it made me feel good, his best friend Chaz named his daughter after Bonk. So her name is Dakari. And I look at her like a granddaughter. So, in a couple we have 4 kids who 2 have Dakari as their middle name and then 2 have Dakari as their first name. So his name is definitely gonna live on. And that makes me feel real good, when I hear the songs and I hear people talk about them and I see the IG names that say Forever Bonk and, 4SOB, so I'm like, wow, my son was loved. I think I got 500 obituaries made at the funeral, and that wasn't even enough.
Wow.
That wasn't even
500.
enough. And I made sure strategically, like, give one a person. Like, don't give nobody more than one.
That's a black
It was
Sam.
gone. I'm like, yeah, because, people just, I think some people just came to the funeral for the obituary.
For real?
And he had a nice obituary. Yeah, it was like a book. But, yeah, I think some people, I'm like, do all y'all even know my son? Like, I don't even know 500 people. But his family, our family is big alone. His father family is huge, and my family is big. So even if our family size was 300 people, I knew that it was going to be packed, and it was.
Yeah,
So.
you gotta think he's still in high school. He got like a lot of Merle kids there.
Right.
From outside.
Oh, yeah. People from the jail. I'm like, how y'all COs here? They like, we love him. I'm like, I be out. They be like, you Baldwin mother. I'm like, you must work at the jail. You calling him by his last name. So, yeah, he definitely was loved. And I asked him one day, I said, if something happened to you, how many people you think you gonna hurt? He was like, a lot. I said, right, a lot. There's a lot of people that love and care about you. So he broke a lot of hearts when he left. He broke a lot of hearts. And some of his homeboys was locked up and like, people coming home nowadays hitting me. Miss Ebony, I was locked up. You got any more obituaries? So, or armbands, we all wear L blue armband. They love my son. And some of them don't take that armband off. I think Chad still got the original one on from the funeral. The words done faded. I done gave him 3 or 4 more, and he still won't take off the old one. I'm like, Chad, take that armband off. It's gone. He like, no, I ain't taking it off.
That's real, though. That's real. I know one of his close friends, my guy Keith. I be saying, like, a lot, like, I feel as though Bunk passing kind of made a lot of people come together, actually. You feel the same way? Cause I see how like him and Taz kind of collaborate. I know you and Keith got some work going on right now. So it's like, I really just want to, really commend all y'all for kind of sticking together in a sense. A lot of times, especially in that community, a lot of times we'll pass away, it divided everybody.
Him and Keith, they go back. I mean, they met in elementary school. So they've been best friends since like about 3rd grade. And Keith and Chaz kind of knew of each other through Bonk, but they were 2 total different people. So Bonk let it be known, this my brother and this my brother. Like, yo, we cool. And Keith went off to college after high school, and Bonk went a whole separate route. But him and Keith were like night and day. Like, they did everything together from elementary on up. Birthdays only a day apart, so they grew up together, And then even when Bonk, the relationship that he had with Chaz, him and Chaz and Keith remain cool. And now that Bonk is gone, they have become closer because of the work Marquise do with his photography. So he films a lot of Chaz videos, and I was like, I just can hear Bonk now, like, no, like tripping about their friendship because he know that Keith and Chaz is two totally different people, but they love each other, and I respect that they support each other in their different lines of work, and Chaz is a wonderful rapper. He's a great artist. I can't wait to see him make it big. Shout out to NESG Chaz. And then Keith is a wonderful film producer and videographer and photographer, so I definitely want to see Color Chaos take off. Like, they both have a gift, they have a skill, and because of the loss of my son, it made them two combine their skills together. And like, Marquise shoots some really dope videos for Chaz.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So like, it's like great. It's like, I love to see that collaboration, cause together it's like we all can make it. They all can make it, and for them to be two young black men in Baltimore with a gift and a talent is like something that I really, really commend both of them for. And pushing through the loss, cause Bonk loss affected both of them. Like, I mean, Chad shut down for a long time. Marquise dropped out of college. Like, both of their lives just changed instantly. Because at some point, like, my son was probably the most important person to both of them.
Right.
So, the loss of him, like, really changed the way both of them moved. But I'm glad they snapped out of it, because I'm like, come on, Chad, you got to get back in the studio. What's going on? Like, he pretty much was like, and the same with Keith. Keith was like, man, he couldn't focus in school.
He told me that too. He was saying like around the time it first happened, he stopped going to school and all that.
Yeah, and he was on a full scholarship. He was on a full scholarship, so I felt so bad, but I understood. And then when Bonk died, it was right before his birthday. Their birthdays are a day apart. Bonk's is May 28th, Marquise May 29th. Bonk passed on May 27th. So now Marquise it's his birthday, it was just a lot. So he took it really, really hard. And yeah, but he doing good. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of both of them.
No. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. That's real. I like how everybody able to come together. I just had Chaz on here like recently, and I had Keith on here probably like a year ago, and they both spoke highly of your son. Like, for sure.
They both spoke highly of your son.
Yeah, it's love. The loyalty they had for each other was like unmatched. Like, Marquise was his best friend, but Bonk never really called Chaz his best friend. He called him his brother. Like, he looked at Chaz like a brother, and like the loyalty they had for each other was like unmatched. So I'll say that they was best friends. But Bonk be like, no, that's my brother. Like, him and Keith use that bro slang too, but it's like, yeah, that's my best friend. We were best friends. When it came to Chaz, he like, no, that's my brother. So they loved each other, all of them, all three of them.
That's real. I want to know, like, because I know you really invested in the community, right? Like, for instance, last time I seen we was down there on Miami Street. Shout out to Uncle T and Channel to Change. You was like, and the trenches with it, making sure that all the kids good and everything. So it's like, when you see kids kind of like going down the same path as your son, what's like the conversation you have with them? What is it like?
So I'm always like, for one, I always tell my story of my son. Like, I can look at a kid and be like, I see potential, but I see the street in him. I'm working with a kid now who, I'm trying to help navigate him. He young, he 13, and I'm like, don't be like my son. You still young, you got time to change. So I really just try to let them know, like, I remind all the kids, like, it's really the choices. You got to make good choices. You got to be cautious of people, places, and things that you are around. You have to pick the right friends to be around. You have to be smarter. Like, and I always stress to my son, both of my kids, I don't expect you to be perfect. Like, perfection is not what any parent really want from their kids, but I expect you to know right from wrong. So as long as you are able to navigate through the wrong, and choose the right thing, then you should be good. But stay on the right path, encourage yourself, inspire yourself, motivate yourself, be around people that's positive. You be around positive people, more than likely you're going to have a positive outcome. You be around the negative, then more than likely that's what you're going to, it's going to wear off. So I just try to talk, real, even with the kids down there, I don't sugarcoat nothing with them. I try to keep it real with them. Like, you got to be blunt with these kids nowadays. Because all of that, like, yes, sit here, let me talk. No, sometimes you like, listen up. This is what it is. Like, y'all gotta hear this from the mouth of a mother. Like, they know my son picture up and challenge the change on the wall. Don't be one of these pictures on this wall. You know. So I just try to inspire them by giving a story about my son and letting them know like my son was smart though. All that not going to school and stuff, that ain't cool. Bonk ain't never think it was cool to be dumb. He always knew like dumb ain't slick. So if you want to be in the street, at least be educated as well. Like be a little bit of book smart and street smart.
So you can move smart.
So you can move smart, you know. So always educate yourself. I'm going to push them kids, learn, learn, learn. That's why I teach them financial literacy and stuff. Like these kids learning how to, you know, budget their money, write checks, start bank accounts, you know, building credit. Bonk credit score was 700 when he died because I started building his credit at 16, you know. So they got to understand like the value that they possess inside of them. Everybody got a gift, but it's up to you to bring it out. Like some people just keep that gift tucked away because they so concerned about with everything else going on. Right.
A lot of people be like that.
Yeah, they think it's like at one point my youngest son was wanted to be a chef. I want to cook. Like that ain't the coolest job an average kid would want to say.
You good at
And
it.
some kids might be like, "You want to be a chef? Like that ain't cool." Like, but Ray always been different. Ray gonna Bonk playing basketball, football, boxing. Ray like I want to play soccer. Ray Bonk like, man, don't no black kids play soccer. I'm like, don't mess with my son. If he want to play soccer, let him play soccer.
Right.
When he make it to the World Cup, don't be all on his little, yeah, jacking him. No. So, like, you know, every kid got their own talent, their own gift. Like, everybody not the same. But the problem with, I think, a lot of these kids now, they feel like they want to do what everybody else doing. They scared to take their own league and be like, all right, I want to do this. I'm going to play football because everybody playing football. I'm going to do this because everybody doing it. Like, if whatever your talent is, Ray used to like to draw and paint, build robots. Like, Ray always been different from Bone. They never had the same interests. But they loved each other as brothers. But Ray wasn't that little brother like, oh, I'm going to follow my big brother footsteps. I want to be in the streets because my brother want to be in the streets. He always took his own mindset and did his own thing. So that, yeah, so that's what kids saying, like, be your own person. Like, don't follow the crowd. Don't follow the wrong crowd anyway. And if you around it, you got to know how to navigate and be smart enough to not indulge in the negative things.
You gotta break out of that cycle. You know, like, before you wrap things up, I know, like, Bunk Passing's been, like, a load on you, right? Before you stand base, like, what's some of the things you've been indulging in? I know you have a book right here you brought on there for us.
Yeah, I bought my book. So I wrote a grief journal. It's called A Healing Mother's Journey. So, you know, it took some time. Like, I knew I wanted something that could, like, help other mothers that were grieving and healing. So, you know, I wrote my book. I started my nonprofit S.O.N Organization, which stands for Surviving Our Neighborhood. So I thought about something to remember my son. So I'm like, how can I remember my son? How can I keep his name alive? How can I, you know, shed light on what happened to him in a positive way? Because we always get the negative from the streets and from the news and from social media. But it's like, although I know, not being naive about my own child, like I know my son's lifestyle is what led to his death. You know, you got mothers that'll be out here, oh, my son was a perfect child. He did this, he went to school. My son was far from perfect. He was far from perfect, but he was a perfect son. Like I can say that, like my son was a great son. He was a wonderful son, but he made bad decisions. He made bad decisions. So how can I make his bad decisions make me do something positive? So, you know, I wanted to turn my pain into a purpose that would allow me to like inspire other mothers, inspire kids that's like going down the wrong path to do the right thing. So I thought hard and long about a name, like, what can I name my organization? And I'm like, son, you know, because it's after my son. Like, all right, now son gotta mean something strong. It gotta be like an acronym that's like powerful, that's like gonna make the world know. Like, cause my organization is like the vision I have is bigger than Baltimore. Cause it's kids in other cities and other states that are going through the same thing. You know, so I'm like surviving our nation, saving our neighborhood. Like I was thinking of all these acronyms, and then you know it came like surviving our neighborhood. Like your kids, y'all can't survive these neighborhoods. You can't overcome that. Like it's a lot of adversity y'all face, it's a lot of challenges, but as long as you got the right support, you can survive. Like some of them in their mindset know they can't survive. Like I'm from the hood, I'm from the projects, this is what we do. We gonna die, go to jail. Like no, don't have that mindset. Like you can have a positive outlook on that neighborhood because you're not like what you are. Some people got that mindset of like you become a product of your environment. You
A lot of people
become
gravitate that mindset. I don't
yeah,
think that's
so
real. I don't.
yeah. So they have to know like you can survive. You gotta push yourself. So like, I started my organization. It's been around coming up on our 1 year anniversary. Kudos to that.
Congratulations.
But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. It's very, very stressful at times. The kids can be overwhelming at times. I'm also still a realtor, so I'm working, I'm busy, still a mother, so I have another son that I try to keep busy as well. I'm working on a lot of things. I'm in school right now, working on my bachelor's in business. So, um, I have a lot going on. I do have a lot going on, and I think sometimes it's a good and a bad thing because I think that I kind of try to stay busy to keep the thought away from like I think sometimes it's like I never really properly grieved. I just kept going. It's like
I was
I
gonna ask
got.
you.
Did you give yourself any time? Like, did you give yourself any time?
I mean, it's really not a time frame on grieving.
Cause I ain't,
I ain't gonna lie, Miss Ebony, you got a lot going on. Like, I understand the busy thing. Like, but I'm just like, I remember you was even talking about the hospital situation. Like, you didn't really, you so worried about everybody else, but like, you taking the time for yourself.
Not as much as I probably should, but I try to. I try to. I just think that like I definitely need to go back to therapy. I'm working on that. But I just think I just didn't want to like shut down. People see the good though. Y'all see me happy, lucky, smiling, all nice and dolled up, and Instagram and Facebook and social media. But I have my moments. Sometimes I'm stuck in the shower in the house. I don't want to be bothered. I barely sleep in my bed. I be on the sofa every day. Don't know right. Like I just have my moods of where I'm like, all right, today I feel okay. And I'm like, no, today I'm not okay. I could be driving on the street and just bust out crying. So but I try to stay strong, especially for my other son. I worry about him a lot sometimes. He's very quiet and conservative at times. He don't really express himself. But we talk about Bonk all the time. We remember certain things. We laugh and we joke about memories and things that we used to do together. So, I think that a lot of us don't really take that time to properly grieve.
yeah, we
Yeah,
don't.
we don't. I think that's necessary though. That's why I was trying to like ask you when did you take your time to it because like I said I get it you gotta be busy but you also gotta take that time. But honestly though, Mr. Evans, I'm gonna just say I think you really want to take that time when it's right for you. Not saying you didn't already grieve, but I think you even more when it's right for you.
No, you're right. I think that it's gonna happen, in due time. But I
Yeah.
think sometimes I feel like mentally I tell myself like if I take that time it's gonna shut me down and stop me from
No, where I'm from it though, Mr. Evans, you gotta embrace it.
yeah.
Any challenge.
Time in life you gotta really embrace it. No matter how hard it is, like you gotta embrace it. Even though you already done that, you gotta still continue to do that. Like you say, it'll never get easier. If anything, they be saying get. I don't want to say hard, but it probably.
So it gets a little easier in time. Like it gets easier to deal with. Like it doesn't necessarily get better, but I think that grief over time it gets easier to process. But that's like the purpose of my book as well, because I talk about the 5 stages of grief and how, to deal with it. And I think journaling is very important, like expressing. Sometimes you don't have an outlet of anybody to talk to. So it's like when you write it down, at least you're expressing and getting it off your chest. So, I think some people don't understand what grief is and they don't understand the stages of grief. So when you feeling a way, you don't understand why you feeling that way. You don't understand what stage of grief you're in to even deal with that stage.
Mm.
So it's important for people to really like understand what grief is to understand how to deal with grief. And I think that was probably part of my problem because I felt like I was probably numb to death. I lost a lot of people in the streets, family members. I know a lot of people. Death been around me my whole life. but it's different when it's your child. Like,
Yeah, it's
so
a hard
no
one.
matter how much loss I may have had, like losing my own child was a total different type of pain. So, but I'm managing. I'm strong because I know my son will want me to keep going. So that's what I gotta do.
I want to commend you for that, Miss Ebony. Like seriously, for always being strong. I ain't like even upon meeting you, like and talking to you, I just peeped the strength in your voice. You ain't had no problem talking with anything. You was transparent, and I just want to commend
Thanks.
you. Definitely, definitely. Oh yeah, no, definitely. Come back anytime. Before you wrap things up, like you got any, like any words you want to leave us off or anything?
No, just pretty much, I just want everybody to understand, like, first of all, thank everybody for the love y'all show to me and my son. I truly, like, truly commend, like, his friends, his real friends, his close friends that check up on me. Because, of course, when people die in the beginning, you get all the overwhelming calls, the text, the social media posts, and then that start to die down, But, like, I got to live with it every day. Some people just do it for like the fame at the moment, just for publicity, just for some attention. But I still have like a handful of people that like really still look out, like check on me, make sure I'm good, making sure that I'm, you know, okay. And so like I just want to thank everybody for that. And thanks for everybody that support me, support my organization, people that have purchased my book. Um, and for any mothers out there, that's definitely in my prayers. Anybody who has lost a child to the streets, and anybody going through a child that's been in that street, don't give up. Just keep pushing and don't give up on your kids. Just love them and try your best to push them in the right way.
That's real.
That's real. I really appreciate you. Stay tuned. We drop the same. We out.